Hello my kings, queens, and fellow non-binary leaders, and welcome back to Nekama. It has been quite a while, but here we are with the Slippery Slope Part 12. I actually at this point never thought we would get here. But hey, let's see the upsides. This means whatever other series has not finished yet might as well at one point get finished. Oh my god. I really hope you enjoy this part, and I really hope there are still people who have been waiting for this video, because according to the comments, yes. But well, anyway, let's go. I hope you enjoy. The first thing that Kita noticed was the cold. He felt cold. The skin on his legs seemed to have been bared, unprotected from its icy surroundings. Alarm spread through his system, and he fought for consciousness. His memories blurred, and he had a hard time stringing a coherent thought together. But he did remember the cave, the cold, and his friends, injured. He had to do something, lest he wanted all of them to die. An odd sort of heaviness pushed him under, like he was fighting himself up from the bottom of the ocean. The pressure increased the more he tried, but still he moved. His eyelids had never felt so heavy, even after the head injury and increasing pull of unconsciousness in the cave. The closer he got to the surface, the more resistance he seemed to face. There was an odd, beeping sound that must have been in his head. It sounded too mechanical for the wits, too hectic. For just a moment he managed to open his eyes ever so slightly. Everyone around him was blurry. Lots of odd blue and turquoise green mixed with a blinding, sterile white light. He could barely make out shapes, but for just a moment he believed to see people with covered faces speaking in hushed voices he didn't understand. The few seconds of sight he was granted sent his heart racing in panic as he failed to make sense of the images, and then everything was gone again. The flow of information seemed to be cut off at once, yet instead of subsiding slowly, his panic seemed to echo in the sudden darkness he found himself pulled down to. Sakusa stared at the bed without really seeing it. His mind refused to fully make sense of the image. Kita lay still and pale on the hospital bed, hooked up to machines with wires and cables. His head was wrapped in a bandage, as was his leg and ankle. He looked almost lifeless, and Sakusa cursed the blanket covering him, for the most part hiding the steady motion of his breath. What is the prognosis? Aaron sounded far away, and Sakusa only registered on the side that a doctor must have joined them to explain Kita's injuries. He has a minor head injury. That shouldn't be cause for further concern. At most, we suspect a concussion as a result. The main issue was his leg and ankle. It is broken in multiple places. A part of the bone seemed to have been crushed. We aren't sure about the process of injury, only that whatever caused it left dirt and splinters deep in the wound. Even with our best efforts to remove everything, we can't be 100% certain. It showed signs of inflammation already when he got here. Sakusa's hands itched, and only the gloves currently covering the skin kept him from rubbing them raw with disinfectant. Inflammation meant infection. What if it burrowed into his bone? What if it wouldn't get better? We are treating him with a broad-spectrum antibiotic until we know more. Additionally, he is receiving pain medication and something against the swelling. So, he'll be okay? Atsuma's voice sounded meek, thin and almost broken. He sat next to Sakusa, his eyes equally as stubbornly trained on their partner, and the nails of his hands digging into the flesh of his upper arms. We can't say for certain yet how the ankle will develop, but we'll monitor closely. He should wake up tomorrow after his body hopefully got some time and rest to recover. However, There was a noticeable incident during the surgery after he arrived.
What incident?
He turned around harshly. That didn't sound good. What could have happened? His mind instantly went to cardiac arrest and CPR, and he felt what little color remained drained from his face. He woke up. It is uncommon, less so during emergency surgery, when we don't have adequate time and information to assess the ideal dosage for anesthesia. It shouldn't impact him too negatively physically, and was resolved quickly. However, such an event can be quite traumatic. Sakusa nodded slowly. He was relieved his worst fears hadn't been confirmed, but just imagining himself in Kita's situation had him mute with nausea again. You can stay for a couple more minutes, but visiting hours are ending soon. Especially now after the earthquake, we need to minimize the people at the hospital to assure we can manage the influx in patients. I hope you understand. You are free to return tomorrow again. With that, they excused themselves, and Sakusa, Eren, and Atsumu were left in the silence that rang loud in their absence. It was only interrupted by the devices dutifully noting down that Kita remained alive. He was alive. The earthquake, landslide, and storm couldn't claim him. He was alive. Suddenly, as if electrified, Atsumu jumped up. He chewed on his bottom lip nervously and fumbled with his hands. I think... I'll check on Rin and Samu real quick. Guess she won't be mad if I leave for a second. One glance at him confirmed how uneasy this made him. His eyes still hadn't left Kita, and he jumped a little when Eren put a soothing hand on his shoulder. He won't. He'd want to know how he's doing too. Check on the other two as well, yeah? I'm sure Komori is worried sick. At the mention of his cousin, Sakusa sunk in on himself a little. His vision had narrowed upon hearing of the call, so much so that he hadn't even thought about how he felt with all this. He heard the door close behind Atsumu but couldn't bring himself to follow. Kiyomi? He shook his head slightly, his hands twitching again before he balled them into fists. His mask firmly set in place. Eren wisely didn't touch him, but just took Atsumu's place beside him. It isn't your fault. If I had just... No, it isn't your fault. Sakusa felt a tear fall from his eyes, the first of many, but didn't bother to wipe them away or fight it. When he wakes up, he'll tell you the same. If. When? Eren insisted, and Sakusa immediately dropped it, as he heard the painful determination in his voice. He understood. The alternative was too painful to consider. The silence stretched between them. From the corner of his eyes he saw Eren fumbling with his fingers uncomfortably and carefully reached out to take his hand. Surprised, the ace looked up before giving him a warm smile. It made it all the more painful when he couldn't bear it anymore a few seconds later. I'm sorry. No. Eren adjusted his position, focused on Kita again. But no matter how much Sakusa was searching, he could find no frustration in his eyes. You have nothing to apologize for. I'm happy that you tried for me, but you should only do what you feel comfortable with. Even now. He scoffed, his voice full of disbelief. Especially now. Easy for you to say. You are utterly devastated. Understandably so. You were closest to Shinsuke the longest. That hardly matters. I know that you and Sumu care just as much about him. Sakusa ignored it as he proceeded. And yet, you still managed to help us. Help me deal with all of this. How can you be so understanding of me when all I do is fall apart at the worst possible time, will you? He wasn't sure how to phrase it, and just looked at him pleadingly, fearing the judgment that was sure to come but only found compassion. It is easier for me not to focus on what I feel and keep distracted by taking care of you. That can be a strength, seeing as I'm glad to be able to help you. But it's not healthy long term. Shin has to wake up soon, otherwise I don't know what to do with myself. He looked down with a worried smile, his voice growing thinner towards the end. Sakusa observed him for a moment, playing the words back in his head. When we're home, and I've showered, I'll hug you. It sounded like a cheap excuse of a promise to him, but Eren didn't seem to share his perception as he smiled at him again and muttered a sincere thank you. Atsumi returned to them shortly after, rather pale looking. Apparently, Suna was awake already. It's not that I'm really happy for summer, and then, of course I am. I want to see my friend awake, it's just... You envy them. It's a horrible thing to think, and I'm sure Shin would give me an earful if he'd hear. He gave a little self-deprecating chuckle and looked utterly miserable. No, it's human. Shinsuke would understand. Atsumu didn't protest as Sakusa had tried. He leaned against Eren in mutual support, and suddenly the Raven felt an urge of envy of his own as he saw them touching and holding each other. He was so sick of not being able to do these things for himself and his partners. They remained like this until they had to leave, noticing a commotion from further ahead on the floor that made Sakusa feel even more uncomfortable, leading him to rush out quicker as the noise became too much. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I know this was like super late. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. And honestly, just watching until now already helps with the algorithm so much though. So thank you. Tell me your favorite quote under the pinned comment. And yeah, tell me if I should continue this series because I know I've been way too late with this. Also, again, this was with the new setup. So give me your feedback on that in the comments. And a special thanks as always goes out to my Nekonekos. They are, statistically speaking, the most amazing people on this planet, and they help me so much and support this channel. So yeah, thank you so much. If you watching right now are not a Nekoneko yet and you want to be, check out the join button under this video. And yeah, also if you have any ideas, check out the request form. It's also linked under the video. And here are my videos. Check them out if you like. And now I hope you have a wonderful and amazing day. Bye everyone.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be